YouTube! So we are halfway through this year, more than halfway through this year. My neighbors are doing construction, which is obnoxious. We'll just deal with it. Anyway, we're halfway through this year, and I recently have gotten really back into reading, which I've been talking about quite a bit across my social media stuff. I have a Goodreads account that I've been using since 2009. A lot of you probably don't know about it, but I do use it all the time. I'm gonna link it down below. And I only recently saw the book challenge thing, where you set yourself a number of books to read over the course of the year, and then you add them in and you read them, and it's great. So I set it for 25 books because I know that's not a lot, but with where I'm at with the year so far, I think that's pretty reasonable and a good way to get myself back into the swing of things, and then hopefully I can pick a bigger challenge next year. So I've read 6 books so far this year, which is not a lot because we're on the 7th month of the year, so not very good at all, but I'm gonna change that and I'm gonna read a lot more from now until the end of the year. But I figured now would be a good point to do a book wrap-up video, which is a thing that I see that booktubers do. So I'm gonna do one where I go through all the books that I've read so far this year, give you a little summary of them, let you know what I think of them, and then we'll go on and do more books and it'll all be great. So yes, let's do that. The first book I read this year was Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. This is the first book that I read for Answerly, for the book channel that I do with my name channel, and I just heard a lot of really good things about this book. They were true. They were all true. I really liked it. It was a really sweet romance. I love the element of romance in books, but as I'm getting older, I hate any sentence that starts with that. But as I'm getting older, I find myself having a hard time relating to just like straight up like high school romance, because even though I want to deny any proof of this fact at all, I'm getting further and further away from being a high school teenager, and so that sort of will they won't they high school teen romance thing is just getting a little bit more difficult for me to relate to. Not to say I don't like romance books. That is not what I'm saying at all. I love romance so much. I love it. But sometimes I need like a little bit more in a story than just that. And this book delivers. It was so sweet, and it really did make me feel like I was falling in love again for the first time, which is just a really great thing to be able to experience, especially when you're getting older. The next book I read, I just cannot for the life of me find my copy of. I don't know if I lent it to someone. Whoever you are, if I lent you this book, let me know in the comments. Or maybe I got rid of it for some reason. I don't know. But the next book I read was The Coldest Girl in Coldtown by Holly Black. I kind of didn't expect to like this book. I read it for Answerly because I loved Eleanor and Park so much. I was gonna try to read a book that maybe I'd have like less just amazing, gushing, wonderful things to say, but I ended up just loving it also. I don't read a lot of genre fiction. I don't tend to read a lot of like vampire books. I went through a little phase when I was younger where I read a bunch of those books, but I don't tend to gravitate toward those types of books as much anymore. But hot damn, this book was awesome. It was just like a really interesting, really modern, visceral take on vampires. A lot of times when you read these types of books or watch these types of shows, you're imagining yourself in a vampire world or like yourself in a zombie world. But this book, for me, imagined vampires in our world, if that makes sense. It's a small distinction, but I think it's really important, and I loved it. It was just fun and fast-paced and different, and I was pleasantly surprised. The next book I read was Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. This was again another book where I looked at the cover, sue me, and I judged it. I was like, a chick in a bathing suit with lipstick shotgun barrels? Probably gonna be a silly little read, but it's just this like amazing satirical feminist novel that delivered so much more than I ever expected. I highly recommend this book, and it just makes you think about things a lot more than you would expect from a book with a girl in a bikini on the cover. This has also been a year of me getting into comic books. This Sex Criminals, Volume 1 by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky was one of the first like full volumes of a comic that I've read a lot of like short ones because I always go to Free Comic Book Day and I read a lot of the like image firsts and stuff. But I really hadn't gone and just bought like a full comic and read like a full thing. So this was one that was highly recommended to me, and it was amazing. It's about these people who can go to this place called like the Quiet, or what they all call it different things, but it's basically when they're in the mood you know, they can go to this place where time sort of stops and they can do whatever they want by themselves, and it's great. But this couple meets each other that can both do it, and they start experiencing this time together. Then they rob a bank, and I don't want to spoil anything else for you, but it's a really, really great graphic novel. It has this amazing art. The way that they showed the distinction between the normal world and the world that they enter in this time is just like so beautiful, and I loved it. And maybe don't read it in public because it's a little graphic, but definitely go read it alone in your bedroom. Okay, I loved Eleanor and Park so much by Rainbow Rowell that I picked up another book by her called Fangirl. I just loved the premise of this book. I heard that it was a book about a girl who writes fan fiction. That made my soul sing, and so I picked it up. I was like totally on board with the theme of the book. I love the way that she approached fan fiction. I love the way that she approached loving a thing. I definitely had some issues with this book. Not such that I wouldn't recommend the book. I definitely think that everybody who loved Harry Potter in any sort of way that involved the internet at all should read this book, because it's really nice for a printed, published book to validate our obsession. I didn't really care so much for the main character. I thought she was very judgmental and annoying and didn't really grow as a character. And I also thought it was a little bit strange that she didn't participate in any other fandom thing. She basically just like wrote fan fiction and put it out there, and that was it. She didn't like go on forums or like have internet friends, which is a very huge part of the experience for me. I'm sorry, this got a little spoilery and I didn't mean to. So basically, I really love this book. Take it with a grain of salt. I don't think it totally encapsulates the fandom experience for me, but it still is really good. I would say like the book still gets like an 8 out of 10 for me, but those 2 points that I took away like mattered, you know? Okay, and the most recent book that oh, Katniss is just poking out the side of this book, wanting to say hello. Read the Hunger Games. Don't put this propaganda in my video, Katniss. This is not about the Hunger Games right now. The most recent book I read was The Future of Us by Jay Asher and Carolyn Mackler. When I heard what this book was about, that these 2 kids in 1996 log on to AOL online for the first time and find modern day Facebook, I was like, yes, that sounds awesome. Give me that book. But I don't know, it was pretty lackluster. There were things that I liked about it, but overall it felt a little juvenile. I felt like these authors asked themselves, okay, what are the most like surface level things from both the 90s and today that we should like shout out in this book? Strapped on my Walkman. Like, yeah, like we all remember Walkmans, but let's talk about like more interesting, deeper things. And also just like what ended up happening with them going on Facebook. Like, I don't know if I'd recommend this book to people. I think it's an interesting concept, and it's definitely like a fun read. I just wanted more out of it, you know? I just wanted more. So those are the books that I've read so far. I have a lot more books to read. I actually just did a book haul with a bunch of new books that you can go check out if you haven't seen it already. Those are some of the books I'm going to be reading soon, and I've also acquired more books. It's just like all books all the time over here right now. I don't know what happened. I just got bit by a book bug. That was extremely alliterative. And now we're just gonna do a lot of this. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books in the comments below, what you thought of them. Also, of course, I would love book recommendations all the time. And go check out my Goodreads account and let's be friends on there, cause it'll be fun. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.